What's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean P. the Bluff Guy. Hey! And we are back with another One Piece discussion. We will be discussing chapter 1066 and moving forward, making predictions and theories from here. The title of this chapter is The Will of Ohara. Now, before we get into this discussion, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Comment down below your thoughts on the previous chapter. What are your predictions? What's going to happen in the next chapter? Let me know down in the comments, and let me know if you agree or disagree with anything we say. Right. Also, follow me on Twitch so you can catch me live and you can engage with me in real time. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And make sure you join the Discord. Come be a part of my Discord so you could be a part of a future live stream or a future One Piece discussion. Also, just if you want to engage with, if you just want to be a part of a community, a One Piece community that also talks other stuff outside of just One Piece, it's a great place to join. You can also submit to me things to react to on future One Piece reaction streams or future chill streams. So make sure you join the Discord. All of these will be in the description box below. Now it's time to get into this One Piece chapter 1066 and moving forward discussion stream. All right. Before we get into it, y'all know I like to collect opinions. You know, how'd y'all feel about the chapter? You know, let's start with LaJoy Boy. How did you feel about chapter 1066, The Will of Ohara?
Amazing.
You said
10 out of
amazing?
10.
10 out of 10?
Oh, yeah. 11 out of 10, maybe. I don't know.
Why would you rate it so high though? Like what about it, you know? I mean, I agree with you. I'm just curious, like, what makes you rate it so high, you know?
We got official Vegapunk reveals
Yes, sir.
off the
Yes,
bat.
sir.
More on Dragon. More on why he started the Revolutionary Army.
Mm-hmm.
Like more on Ohara. They were right. They did find out the secret that the world government has been holding for 800, 900 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the boy, the other D, Jaguar D Saw
Oh
is
boy.
back. And
Let's
he's
not get
an Elbaf.
let's not get too much about Jaguar D Saw. You know what I'm saying? Because that's definitely a hot topic right now. But but go ahead. I don't know if you was finished. I didn't mean to stop
But
you.
yeah, no, not. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff, but yeah, those was definitely the main ones that just like set this chapter above.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you ain't got nothing else, then I will pass it on to Cube, man. How did you feel about the chapter, man?
Man, you know very much. We talked about it on Friday, but that chapter for me is like the one chapter that I wanted to have. I was waiting for it to happen, like for at least 1 or 2 years. It's been driving me crazy that idea that Dragon was at Ohara, and it's what gave him the ambition to create the Revolution Army.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like 10 out of 10, the easiest 10 out of 10 I ever given in One Piece.
Yeah.
And then the extra stuff I didn't foresaw, like the Vegapunk all stuff, that I actually really liked it as well. Made it even more better.
I'm with you guys. I'm definitely with you guys. You know, like it wasn't the most as far as like eventful. Like we didn't get nothing like badass where we see a character doing something.
Yeah.
But it confirmed and clarified so many things. Mm-hmm. You know, like we got some answers. Like anytime we're getting answers to mysteries, to me that's automatically like usually a good chapter where we get like answers to, like, usually if it's some type of world building or if we're getting type of like answers from like previous things that were set up. And a lot of this stuff has been like we've been waiting for forever. The Vegapunk reveal itself, like the origin, like the real Vegapunk, like that's something we've been waiting on forever. Some Not only that, we got some dope moment. We got Dragon. We learned a little more about Dragon's character, like a character who's been wrapped in mystery for so long. For me, for something that really kind of like stuck out for me that I like was Robin getting the peace of mind that she got.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah, man, that was so sweet. That was so sweet.
Like I was watching, I normally try to stay away from at least before like discussions and like chapter discussions and before I react to chapters, I try to stay away from a lot of like other like videos on YouTube about the chapter because I try not to get influenced on it. Like I don't want nobody else's opinion to sway me to say something on my stream. You know what I'm saying? So I usually stay away from. I like to go in these discussions and these chapter reactions with a completely untouched, unbiased mind. That's why I kind of stay away from discussions. But I did watch a few discussions after this chapter. I was like, bro, I gotta see what the community said about this chapter. So I was watching one from Sawyer Seven Mage, and one thing he brought up was the whole point about Saul being alive and how he kind of had mixed feelings. He said like the fact that it was such a big it was a big moment for Robin's flashback, but Saul being alive. What he said, he ain't say he felt this way, but I guess some people felt it might have taken away from Robin's flashback. I don't think so. I don't think so. But I don't think so because it's just. I think Saul being alive made sense if you think about it, right? I think it makes sense because he was frozen to death, or he wasn't even frozen to death. He was just frozen by Aokiji, and he was. I guess a lot of people point out that it was the ice time capsule or whatever.
Yeah.
But then they said it was a different. I heard it was a different movie. I don't remember, but he was frozen.
Well, Ice Capsule. The movie is called Ice Capsule.
Ice Capsule.
Well, so what happened was like Aokiji went to go use it at first, and he did say Ice Time Capsule or Ice Capsule, whichever translation it was.
Yeah.
And then Saul like interrupted him, like when Aokiji went to go do it again.
Okay.
Because he only got the ice time, and then it was like a hyphen right after when he got interrupted by Saul. But like in hindsight, it actually makes a lot of sense for Saul to be able to survive.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Oda even showed us with Robin and Luffy being thawed out.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even that.
Exactly.
It's what he was also.
So he was foreshadowing it.
Yeah, but
not even that. The knowledge he had, the way he talks about the D's. A lot of people in the giant. He's like the one giant that is making a reference on past culture for the giants, which is pretty big. So he must have some pretty good knowledge to give to Robin.
Well, to me it made sense because he was frozen, right? Like he was frozen, and then what? Like after they bombarded the whole island, what happened? The island was on fire. It was set ablaze. All that heat would. I mean,
melt him.
I don't think Aokiji, like I heard people say his ice should be able to withstand heat, but I don't. It's still ice. It's still normal ice. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he lost to a Kainu. So
yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's like it's heat. It melts him. You know what I'm saying? And
exactly.
nobody. We never really talked about this.
And like, and even when like Luffy and Robin were being thawed out, they had to do it slowly.
Yeah. Then
Kushi the one
said,
thing before we start.
Hold on. Then Kushi said, "Dragon oozes, drip man. Every panel's always spicy." But go ahead, Q. What was you gonna say?
And also, what I like about this chapter, when we were talking, I just thought of it. The two biggest moments. Well, there are a lot of big moments, but like emotional moments in One Piece was what happened to Clover and Enies Lobby. I mean, during the Enies Lobby arc. And at the end of Enies Lobby arc is when we reveal Dragon. Those are like huge moments, and Oda managed to connect them both in a crazy way.
Mhm.
Like also that it's so amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. So all right, getting into the meat and potatoes of the chapter. I kind of want to start out with something that I kind of personally missed on the first read through when I reacted. It's something I probably just glossed over. I didn't even catch was Vegapunk. He was saying something. He said something about like the void century is. He said the 20 kingdoms won the war and later developed the world government, creating a. Wait, hold on. Where? He said something about a certain machine was discovered elsewhere, was produced, or the certain machine discovered elsewhere was produced. Like I don't know if you guys caught that. He said
Yeah.
there was once a man who gave his life for archaeology and brought that kingdom's existence to light. And that timeline matches up with the period in which a certain machine discovered elsewhere was originally produced. And I didn't catch that till like I did my second read through like earlier today. You know,
Mhm.
what do y'all think he was talking about? A certain machine? Are we talking like ancient weapons, Pluton, or
Yeah.
Uranus?
So yeah, my first thought would be Uranus because I do believe that what we saw that happened to the island that never existed
Mm-hmm.
was because of Uranus. And then I think the world government found that or had that, and then they made like Vegapunk like fix it
Mm.
or do a diagnosis on it.
Okay. So what you're saying is he's more so confirming the world government's possession of it that we believe, right? The one that we seen at Lelusia.
Yeah.
But
You know.
this
Go ahead, Q. Go
That
ahead.
that was yeah.
Or
there's
was you?
something I was wondered. Yeah, sorry.
No, I didn't know if Joy Boy was finished because you know. But was you
Yeah,
finished,
no,
Joy
I'm
Boy?
good. Go ahead, keep. Yeah.
Okay. I like that, and also I always wondered, like the way they said that timeline matches up with the period in which a certain machine discovered elsewhere was originally produced. And I always want, you know how there's always this thing about propaganda, information, stuff like that. What if it was like the first like form of typewriter? Because in history, when the world started to change, is when like people were able like to type themselves, like it wasn't
Are
controlled
you
anymore
talking
by the
about
government.
Gutenberg?
Like I don't know, like Gutenberg, like the same thing. Like what if, and that would explain why there was a certain date on it, and maybe it didn't match up on stuff that the world government said before. So I'm wondering as well, like maybe that machine is not like it proves that there was something before that.
Okay, so what you're saying is like the world government has been saying the like civilization started only 800 years ago, like before the void
Yeah,
century.
and maybe
Okay.
there's a date for those machines that prove that it was done before that, which that would prove everything that they found that would validate that there was a kingdom before then. Could also be but not sure.
It's interesting. But yeah, I don't know. But but you think it's Uranus they were talking about, Joey Boy? I
Yeah,
think that would make
especially with
sense.
like a certain machine, like the wording on that.
Cause cause I don't think they know where Pluton is, so you know, and they have possession of well, possibly have possession of Uranus. But what if it's a different weapon? You know what I'm saying? What if it's a different weapon? You know, like we assume it's Uranus because you know we know about these ancient weapons and everything, and I mean they never hyped any other weapon up, but you know what if it is a different?
My
I don't know.
like the only other weapon I could see would be like somehow but it wouldn't make sense because they were looking for the blueprints for it, but the blueprints Frankie had
Mm-hmm.
because that was something to like counter Pluton.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's Pluton. I don't think whatever that was Pluton.
Well,
I
it
don't
wouldn't
think
be.
he's talking about Pluton.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like the actual
Yeah.
Pluton that's like you know, but it'd be the counter to Pluton because that's what the blueprints Frankie had.
Oh, you're talking about if they found like the counter weapon. Like, would that still be an ancient weapon, or would it just be a different? Yeah,
Well, it
that's the
could still
question.
it could be like the fourth ancient weapon,
Yeah, I mean, if I
but
mean, we
that
only
would be
heard of
like my
three
only
though.
thought. Yeah,
Like I
exactly.
like I said, ancient weapon is just a name. If you take it apart, devil fruit could be considered ancient weapons. I think they're called ancient weapons for the way it was done. So I do think like there are other stuff other than the three ancient weapons, but just named differently. Because I think it's just about naming.
Yeah, I kind of look at the ancient weapons more as like kind of like when you have the big three anime, right? You got Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, right? It's like there's other anime, yes, but when we say the big three, it's usually
Yeah, it's
talking
them.
about those specific anime, and you could argue that there's other anime and other manga that were bigger or just as big or whatever. You could argue that, but that phrase was coined for those three specific anime, right?
Yeah,
So when
yeah,
I look at
exactly.
Ancient Weapon,
Because it was their time. It was like all in the same time period. But I mean, you
Yeah.
could argue that Dragon Ball, which came before it, is bigger than most of them.
yeah,
Like
Mm-hmm.
Naruto, at least Naruto and Bleach.
yeah, but I say that just to say like I think when they say Ancient Weapon, it's always been talked about as if there were just three of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Could there be
exactly.
fourth one
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Mystery?
Yeah.
Could they have more weapons back in the ancient kingdom? Yeah, but I think when they talking ancient weapon, it's specifically Uranus, Poseidon, and Pluton. Now, I mean, we can always get a reveal, and it says, yeah, there was a fourth one this whole time that was lost in translation or something. I don't know. That can always be a thing, but for now we just kind of gotta. Well, we don't have to. We can always speculate that there is a fourth one, but what we got from the story is that it's three. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree. I was just saying the fact that I think it's just name things. So your idea of being like something like an ancient weapon, but before or after that could also make sense. That's what I meant. Like, doesn't mean that H3 ancient weapon means there's nothing else. They're just named something different. Most likely, they're not part of that category, so it could make sense.
Yeah. Den says Pluton is said to be able to destroy an island in a single shot. It's definitely weird Lelugia was one shotted, in my opinion. Well, we never really got.
16 shotted.
Yeah, I mean it was like 16 beams or whatever, but we never really we never got any hype from Uranus. It could be capable of doing the same thing as well. You know what I mean? It's just Pluton was the only ancient weapon that was ever really hyped. Well, no, Poseidon as well, because we know what Poseidon's about. But yeah. So uh, again, I believe the thing that one shot at Lelugia was Uranus. But again, that's just my speculation. I could be. We could learn that it is like a copy of Pluton or some other weapon, but I don't know. It's just
Oh,
I
and
I'm gonna
like
believe it's
all,
Uranus. Go ahead.
also to add on that, like if Uranus was what Vegapunk found, that like set the timeline that he knows for the machine that was found 900 years ago. Like there could have been modifications done to it also.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure.
Yeah.
So like if it could be like a better Uranus now than what it was as an ancient weapon, especially with Vegapunk's like interest in laser technology,
Yeah.
with what was shown from Uranus, or was our like supposed theory that was what destroyed Lelugia.
What if Vegapunk is just replicating the ancient weapons though? Like I mean I don't know how you replicate Poseidon, but what if he's like copying Uranus or something?
Mm-hmm.
or
Well,
Pluton, you know.
well, I like this idea that maybe Emu, maybe connected to the moon god, has this ability like to reflect the light of the moon. Could explain why they call about being at the it was destiny, and maybe like the Lucia was at the path of the moon, and
Hmm.
some sort of thing like that.
Mm. And like that would like make sense with like Oda's big focus on the moon, like early on in the
Yeah,
story too.
yeah. And would it
Like
make sense
maybe it could
why?
only happen during a full moon, or
Yeah, and also it would make sense why Emu is written. Emu is basically Umi, by reflection, and the moon reflects on the sea. So that was the idea of it. It's all about reflection. But like the Uranus, I'm not debunked the Uranus as well because it also could be that. It's just I think I need to see more before giving an idea on it. But Uranus is also a good guess.
Yeah. Then Kushi said Cube's idea would explain why the weapon isn't spammed as well.
Yeah, it's all about location. Like it's a real satellite.
Yeah.
You
I
need
mean,
to have it in certain.
yeah. Think yeah. So I mean y'all got like anything else on ancient weapons or whatever this supposed machine was that
uh, I guess just for Den and Kushi, like my whole theory for the Uranus thing is like it takes the Nefertari bloodline to be able to use, and
mhm.
since we don't know where Vivi is, that would also explain why like Uranus hasn't been used until now.
Yeah. Now I remember I was thinking like when he said that I was like I wonder what the Joy Boy he gonna bring back the whole Nefertari bloodline thing.
Yeah, that's why I just said for Din Din because I know y'all have heard me talk about it, and I don't think he was in the streams when I was talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so kind of moving on. So Vegapunk also knew Dr. Clover, right? He also knew Dr. Clover. What do you think was the nature of the relationship and how they knew each other? Like you think maybe Clover was associated with Mads or like what's up? Like I just thought I just seen it interesting, right? I just seen it interesting that
Well,
Clover.
it was either that, or maybe I don't know what the education system is like in the One Piece. If there's schools and universities on some islands,
Maybe they
you
went to the
know, like
same.
if they were school buddies,
Yeah,
or you just heard about his exploits, like
yeah.
as an archaeologist, just because of who Vegapunk is.
Uh, then so the Joy Boy Funny literally have that in an upcoming script. I'll DM you if you want to
Hey,
share some Nefertari thoughts. Clover, the founder, Sengoku is in it too. Clover, the
yeah,
founder.
DM me, bro.
All right, yeah. So
So
kind. Oh, go ahead, Q. Go ahead. My bad. You were out in
no worries, no worries.
Clover.
The one thing I do think like they knew each other in the past, maybe the Mats or maybe something even before the Mats. But what I like as well is, and I would say the last time we've ever heard of another old scientist or like doctor going around the world, they sort of reckless and being an adventurer, is Dr. Hilyuk, the shopper's son, the
Mm.
shopper's father. And
Whoa.
when when
Yeah,
Vegapunk talked about Clover, the one thing he said, so the only thing that makes sense is bringing him flowers. And flowers is another theme of Dr. Hilyuk. Minute after he
yeah,
talks about Clover, he says, I brought flowers to see him, which I find it very interesting.
I mean, Dragon did too.
Yeah, but I do think it's the fact that what he said about Clover, and you can take a Vega with Hiluk, there are the different parts of Dr. Hiluk, how he was portrayed as a adventurer in the past, had traveled the world, and the Sakura flowers, which I find is very interesting.
yeah.
We could,
You think they got a connection with Dr. Here, Luke? Like
I think some of the older researchers, maybe back in the day, they all were discovering the world and they interacted with one another and they kept in contact,
I mean,
shared
it's
knowledge.
just from their designs alone. It's actually very possible that like Here Look and Clover have a connection
mm-hmm.
because when Here Look has like the two pieces of hair, like big ass hair, like sticking out left and right, and then up, and I mean Clover. So I mean, they could even be related for all we know.
Yeah.
And I've also seen a weird thing where it seems like every member of Luffy's crew are somehow connected with somebody that Luffy might have met or might be connected to Luffy when you see it more and more. And now that Clover is connected to Dragon, and makes that Robin has this connection, the same thing. So I'm wondering if Chopper could be the same thing. For Dr. Hilliuk, there's a connection that Luffy knows somebody who also knows Dr. Hilliuk.
Mm-hmm.
It's very weird. It looks like there's somehow, at least not closely, but there's some relation, like connection in the background between members of the crew with Luffy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about Dragon's connection with Vegapunk and Clover? Right? Like what y'all think that relate, like, cause Dragon knew Vegapunk before, he met him at Ohara. He also knew Dr. Clover at one point. And for me, it would make sense, especially with Clover, because Clover was traveling. And I'm thinking with Dragon, I'm starting to kind of be on board with the theory that Dragon could have been a Marine. Because that would make sense how he probably met these guys before he became a freedom fighter and didn't have the money. So
so he knew Vegapunk, like when he was like he tried to recruit Vegapunk.
Yeah.
Like when he was doing his freedom fighter stuff.
Yeah, but like for him to go and recruit, I feel as though he might have known Vegapunk before he tried to recruit him. Like maybe he met him. Like when did he meet Vegapunk? Was he like, cause?
Well, I'm sure it was like before he tried to recruit him, because after he tried to recruit him is when Vegapunk went to the Marines and world government.
Yeah. But I'm saying I think he might have met them as a Marine. That's kind of what I'm like when he first met Clover, when he first met Vegapunk, maybe he was working as a Marine, possibly. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like eventually, yes, we seen Dragon kind of, he does his freedom fighter thing, and but I feel as though there had to be some. Cause what we know of Dragon is what he's kind of like a pacifist. Like Vegapunk said, "Oh look, I didn't know somebody who don't like war would try, would want to start like a army or whatever." But it's like where did Dragon's whole ideology come about? Like I would think somebody who wanted to prevent war would possibly join something like the army, like the Marines. To be kind of a peacekeeper. And then maybe he learns that the Marines ain't what he thought they were.
So, okay, yeah. That actually makes sense now. He would probably be groomed by Garp to join the Marines at first. And then that's when he sees, like, the things he has problems with that Oda has stated before about Dragon. And then that's probably when he AWOLs from the Marines and starts his freedom fighter stuff. What was the timeline that Oda said? What was it, 24 to 19 cube?
Revolution Army. So basically, in the data book, Oda wrote 24 years ago to 19 years ago is approximately when he created the Revolution Army, which is Ohara 22 years ago.
Yeah. So I'm thinking 24 years ago is when he AWOLs and starts like the freedom fighter stuff. And then the incident at Ohara happens, and that's when he goes full in on it. And like maybe like half a year later is when the Revolutionary Army actually starts up.
It actually does make sense because if I remember correctly, and yes, that's it. I think that's like if he would have been in the Marines before 24 years ago, it would make sense that he interacted with Akainu, who also calls Luffy's Dragon's son many times, because he would like he had joined 8 years prior to the Marines at the age of 23 years old. what's his name, Akainu, and he's the same age as Dragon.
You know,
So
somebody pointed out. Somebody,
Oh
I'll let,
yeah,
I'll
he
let
would
you.
be the same
Hold
class.
on, hold on, Joy Boy. I'll let you
Yeah.
continue, Q. But
Yeah,
Dragon, Akainu, and Nicole Olivia are all the same, or they were all the same age.
yeah.
They were like 33 at that time. Or I mean, Nicole died, or Olivia, she died, but she was 33 as well. With them.
Yeah,
with
that
them
was
two.
the core point of my theory. Without that, I couldn't really prove that there was a connection between Akainu and Dragon at that time.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind
And
of interesting. They all the same age. Or go ahead, Q.
Ooh, something on that. Like, do you
but
think Olivia was like a marine plant to find more out about like the Void Century stuff?
Are you saying she was planted by the Marines to do that?
No. Like she
he went to the
into the
Marine.
Marines, like from Ohara, like an Ohara plant.
Ah.
And that could be like how like maybe Dragon and Akainu, because like there's the whole thing with like what Sengoku, Garp, and Suryu, right? Like maybe it was
Pseudo?
like maybe it
Not
was
Pseudo.
like Suru, yeah, Suru.
Yeah, Suru.
Maybe it was like the same for Dragon, Akainu, and Nico.
Oh, okay, like a triple, like the okay, I see where you're going. Kind of how like Sengoku, Garp, and Sudo, and then you got Dragon.
Yeah, because they would have joined at the same time, maybe.
It could have been, man. Like it's hard to like.
I'm just throwing it out there because they're the same age.
I could be
And
that,
maybe that's
or
how Dragon knew about like Ohara, and Okaino went so hard on Ohara.
Yeah. Oh, like
I do.
a kind of, it was like a vendetta for a kind of almost.
Yeah, because kind of like how like Garp and Sengoku are like a little bit different.
Uh-huh.
Like it would be like the same for like Dragon and Akainu.
I kind of like that. It could be, But Sudo
It
was
could make
Sudo.
sense. It could make sense, why Akainu now calls his form of justice absolute justice. If he came into contact all those years ago with information, and instead of being like Dragon or Livia, he decided to put everything in his justice, like absolute justice. It could also be the reason why he has an absolute justice. He took a vow, like. So actually, it does make sense for Akainu.
Maybe
The decision
like
he made.
I can see that being a situation where Akainu and Dragon both seen the same situation, and they both kind of processed it differently. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And maybe Nico,
like,
Olivia was there as well, but they both like the way Akainu processed it was, it shaped him to do the absolute justice. The way Dragon processed it, he went against war. He just didn't like war or whatever.
Actually, I might have a timeline where it might have started. We know like around what age they could have known each other, maybe. But what if, because they were all three of them 17 years old, the same age as when Luffy started his adventure, and Ace, when it was God Valley. What if God Valley was like the catalyst on them trying to understand it more, and they parted ways in the way they did stuff? And Akainu went a complete opposite direction. And on that moment, Akainu, what he saw? He saw the worst generation of pirates with the rocks destroying everybody. And the Dragon saw depravity from the world government with slaves. And maybe Olivia saw something else, like the truth being hidden and wanted to uncover. Could actually be that, actually. God Valley is extreme.
God Valley is where everything is the root of everything. God Valley is the root of everything. Then says, we see that symbol on Sentomaro, which looks like Clover's hair. I think Sentomaro's is like the Tamo drums. Like that's kind of like some kind of like the if I remember correctly,
Tomoe.
uh, kind of like the
Yeah, it's like the Tomoe.
yeah, kind of like Sharingan or something. And then he says, which looks like Clover's hair. Sengoku also wears the symbol in the cover page. Yeah, I have to see that cover page. And he said, personally, I do think Akainu is connected to some old stuff, but I think at the end of the day, he's his own dude. Pretty simple character. Will proud sacrifice himself for the Navy. I say. Um, said Blackbeard may be the one to kill him. I don't know if I think Blackbeard is gonna kill Kainu. That's just I don't see their paths really crossing that much. You know, I kind of think Akainu could rebel against the world government potentially. You know what I mean? And if honestly, now that we kind of getting into like Dragon and Akainu's potential relationship, because I've always kind of been on the fence with Akainu. I know he's kind of portrayed as probably one of the main antagonists, especially since he killed Ace. But I always thought like maybe he could rebel against the world government, at some point. And a lot of it is because every time we see him talking to the Gorosei, he's always kind of at odds with him. He's kind of like they're kind of like stepping on his toes as like not letting him be the leader of the Marines. So I'm kind of the belief that Akainu could potentially go against the world government, and I kind of think Kizaru and Akainu that could be like a final fight or whatever. Me personally, but if that is the case, and he does end up going against the world government, maybe Dragon kind of tips him over that edge. You know what I mean? Maybe we could see like a Dragon and Akainu conversation. But Den says Sentomaro has two symbols. I'm not sure what the other Sentomaro symbol is, but I'll look it
It
up.
would have to be the one at Return to Sabaody.
What's his name? Sentomaru. He has.
Ooh,
I see
that's
what you're saying.
interesting.
He
Did you
has
guys?
two. I see what you mean. He has like that. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. The hair. It look like it's like a fan with. Those are kind of like hair loop. That's kind of like how hair Luke's hair is, right? Uh,
Yeah,
Cube.
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's very similar. And also, if you think about it, Clover, his name is a plant, origin name, and the flower with Dr. Heliok. So, and in Drum
Maybe
Island, there were only maple syrup leaves all the time, everywhere.
could that not be like maybe Vegapunk's symbol? Because now I think about it,
Maybe.
Vegapunk knows Dr. Clover. Like they were
Yeah,
friends, and since tomorrow was the protector of Vegapunk, so I could see since tomorrow just wearing whatever Vegapunk symbol is. I mean, I don't know if we seen like a different Vegapunk symbol. And he says, as I say, Sengoku has the symbol too. It's weird. I don't know. It could be like a family crest or something. But I had to look. I'll look at Sengoku's later. But all right. So we learned, right?
cool.
We learned. Not we learned that I mean, unless anybody got more about Vegapunk's or like Dragon's relationship with Vegapunk and Clover. If anybody got anything else to add to that.
Well, the only thing I was gonna do to end it, I said most likely, I don't know about Vegapunk and Clover, but most likely God Valley, if they were all there, all three of them. It could be how Dragon got into contact with Dr. Clover.
Mm.
A lot of higher up top. Nico Robin's with him. Robin's mom is with him. He helps her get away. He goes to Ohara. They teach him about more stuff about the past. he studies with them, and then he, freedom fighters. But yeah, to end that's the last thought.
Ooh, like what? Like I kind of got like this little fan scenario, like this fan canon scenario in my head that just popped up. What if Nicole Olivia, right? Like maybe she was a Marine, maybe she wasn't, right? But maybe she was in a situation with Dragon and Akainu, right? And Akainu, maybe Nico Olivia learned something, right? Or maybe she wasn't even a Marine, but she knew some stuff, and Akainu was like wanted to kill her for what she knew, but Dragon potentially stopped it, and then that was Dragon going against the Marines at that point, because Akainu was doing his duty, but Dragon seen the wrong in it, and he possibly protected Nicole Olivia. I don't know. I'm just coming up with like fan canon scenarios in my head, but some type of scenario like that.
Well, the thing is with that, like, it's been stated that what's on Dragon's face isn't a tattoo, right?
I mean,
am I wrong on that?
I know it was that. I know he had like a logo on his leg, and that was what became his whatever was on
tattoo.
his face. So I would assume it's a tattoo of the thing.
I thought it was stated that it wasn't a tattoo though.
Stated where?
Like in an SBS.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna check that out right now. Or maybe I'll see because I didn't read about that. I'm very curious.
Yeah, you would have to. You would have to see that. I don't really remember. So all right. Okay, moving on. It was stated that by the end of that year, I guess, like something like the end of that year, or not even a full year or whatever, that's when Dragon started the revolutionary army, and we learned that I guess it was confirmed that Ohara was kind of the motive behind that, and I'm gonna let you start, Cube. I'm gonna let you talk on this. I kind of put this topic in here specifically for you, Cube, because I know you kind of theorized or speculated that before. So, if you want to talk about that, the floor is yours. If you want to talk
about thank you, man. But honestly, yeah, for me, the thing that made me the most sense is the question I asked myself: why, after 800 years or 900 years, with an information that decimated an entire island, got leaked? And I always wondered. Nobody asked the question why, and I said maybe somebody who got access wanted the truth to be known. And for me, the only thing that made sense was Dragon. And I remember that Kainu, who kept referring to Luffy as Dragon's son, was the first time he was introduced in the story, where he is the one who killed all the civilians. So then I made this connection between both of them, and then the great terminal scene where he saves all the people who are being burned by the fire and make that speech about the people who've been abandoned. So that's when I made, okay, most likely it's a reference to Ohara. And so I thought maybe at Ohara, he came afterwards and he made a same speech, but that moment he created the RA. That was but I was very happy that it did come to pass.
All right, man. Well, we know now. We definitely know now that the Revolutionary Army was indeed started by or motivated because of what happened at Ohara, But I hope we get a little more about the freedom fighters, right? Like what kind of stuff were they doing? They was just a little ragtag group, because we know they ain't have money, like Dragon couldn't afford Vegapunk or nothing, so I just want to know the transition. I want to know more about the transition from the freedom fighters to the Revolutionary Army. But
yeah, maybe that's how they know Crocodile as a rookie. Maybe where he was a freedom fighter. He makes more sense than revolutionary.
Okay. So you got anything to add to that, Joy Boy, with the creation of the Revolutionary Army?
Only that, like, because like the founding members were Ivankov, Dragon, and Kuma. Like, I'm kind of leaning more towards like the whole Kuma modifications were like a plan of the Revolutionary Army.
Oh, so you think Kuma was meant to be like an inside guy almost?
Yeah, and like
yes.
yeah, and I've seen like that could probably be what could be explained in the next maybe 1 to 2 chapters maybe, because of like Bonnie actually meeting the real Vegapunk too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's coming really soon, like the explanation of like what happened to Kuma. And like I've
Yeah.
also seen stuff, especially with like how Vegapunk looked back at Ohara and what he looks like now, that like parts of his actual brain were transferred to the other Vegapunks.
Mm-hmm.
That's what actually happened to Kuma, and maybe his real brain is in the Seraphim.
And I think that Kuma Seraphim, I think that might be a way to bring Kuma back personally. You know, I think that was kind of Vegapunk's way, because even if it's not Kuma's real brain, it's still a clone of his brain. You know what I mean? If that's not like his original brain, it's still probably going to be like a clone of his brain, and maybe.
Well, I don't know. Like, it could be his actual brain, because like just off the appearance of Vegapunk, right? Because he went from having a tall head to having
a small
all
head.
that gone. Yeah, exactly.
Tall head from
can I
small.
add
So
something?
my thing is like, instead of like, I know Cube was like on the whole like Kuma pushing out personalities, but I think like after this chapter, it's more of like he actually took parts of his brain out and transferred it to the 6 other Vegapunks.
Yeah.
And that could have been what happened with Kuma, is like he actually took Kuma's brain, and that was maybe what he built Kuma's Seraphim from.
Go ahead, Cube. You wanted to add
Yeah, I
something?
want to add something with it, and it's one of the theories that basically this chapter also changed my mind, and now everything makes sense. I think the reason why Law was at Punk Hazard is that most likely at one point Law and Vegapunk met each other, and I think he used Law's Devil Fruit to make his 6 pacifistas, his 6 satellites. That's why he has an apple on his head. So I do think like it wasn't Kuma, but maybe it was with Law's Devil Fruit.
Oh yeah. That would like also explain why Law was hanging out at Punk Hazard.
And Law's crazy plan to destabilize the world that fitted with
Yeah,
revolution and sword.
yeah.
Could have come from
Bringing back
Vegapunk.
the
Could have come from
sword, huh?
Vegapunk. Yeah, could have come from Vegapunk, who
Bring
said
it
there are still good people in that organization, meaning sword.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
also mean like why one of Sword's like main bases is right next to Egghead Island.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Like, I don't know. I don't know if Kuma's brain. I don't know if I agree with the Kuma's brain being transferred. I think, it's a clone, but cause it's not like I. Cause I don't want to say I don't know if I think the Seraphim are like cyborgs. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just more like clone type. I think the all the Seraphim are clones. Cause then that would make his Seraphim the most unique. Cause he's the only one with the actual original brain.
Well, he's also more unique in that he's actually an adult too. Because like if it was his actual brain, like,
but I think
the
that
brain
part
wouldn't have
makes
to
sense.
develop. well, it wouldn't have to develop because also because of how the other kids are or the other Seraphim are. They're all kids, right? So they would
Yeah,
actually have to develop from block zero, where if you actually have Kuma's actual brain.
yeah, but like I think when the Seraphim were being created, I think the Kuma Seraphim was probably going to be the first Seraphim that Vegapunk
Well, yeah,
like
I
successfully
I I believe
created.
that too.
So
Yeah, I
if
believe
that's
that
the
too.
case, then the Kuma Seraphim would have had more time to age. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
So
yes, for sure,
he would just
for sure.
naturally be an adult or much older than the other ones. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah. No, that was my thought. It's like before this chapter, but just off this chapter too. I was just presenting another possibility.
yeah. Den says the Seraphim age. Yeah. All right, so okay, so Jaguar, we talked about it a little bit in the beginning of the stream, but Jaguar D-Saw does seem to pretty much be alive. Like Vegapunk confirmed it without fully confirming it, right? Because of
I mean, Oda confirmed it without completely affirming it.
well, I'm talking about like in the story, Vegapunk pretty much said he was alive without you know saying like, yeah, he's alive. He was just like, I can't really say, but yeah,
Yeah, I was just going off the silhouette that was shown.
oh yeah. But I'm just saying like, it being said. So Jaguar D Saw is alive. We kind of talked about that in the beginning of the stream. How I believe it did make sense based off of the circumstances of how he supposedly died. Right, he was frozen, and then you surrounded by all that fire. It's it'll probably melt you. You know what I'm saying? And so I pretty much went off on my stream. I know y'all seen it or y'all probably seen it. If you didn't see it, it's on YouTube, so y'all definitely go see it. Jaguar D Saw pretty much being the man marked by flames, and
Yes,
I
sir.
feel as though this is definitely a victory that I took because I've seen a lot of theories on who the man marked by flame is. I've heard people saying Aruj. I heard people saying Aokiji. I think I heard people saying maybe like Scopper Caban or something, or like guys like those. I've heard a lot of rumors. For me, I consistently said it was somebody at Ohara. I didn't guess Saul. Now, I didn't guess Saul, but I knew it was somebody connected to Ohara. You know what I mean? I knew, and a lot of it was just because of the Robin's face. Like she kind of was like, "Hold on, man, marked by flames. Who are you guys talking about?" And Oda really made a point to point out Robin's reaction to the man marked by flame. So I knew Oda was going in a direction that this is probably going to be somebody connected to Robin. You know what I mean? I didn't see that big. Even though Aokiji is connected to Robin, I just don't see why it would have been Aokiji. Why if I got if I got a copy of the poneglyph, why would I go to Aokiji? What the hell would he know? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, it has to be somebody who was closely connected to Ohara. You know what I'm saying? And I guess my brain didn't think Saul because I just thought he was dead. I thought he was dead. I mean, hey, I don't know how obvious this is, but to me, it is definitely Saul. Go ahead, Q.
What if actually, yeah, I am like you. I do believe that it's Jaguar D Saw. You called it Among Us when we were talking about it, I think 1 month, 2 months ago. And actually, if I remember correctly, when it happened, Robin looked shocked, but Law, now we've talked about Law and Vegapunk, but that's been interacted in the past. He looked like he looked suspicious when he heard it. They made a reference showing the Law's face, like he did not have no reaction. He was neutral. So maybe Law maybe knew that he maybe understood who he was talking to. So I do think like Jaguar D Saul makes more and more sense as well.
Yeah, it makes sense, man. He would have got. He probably the ice melted him. You know, maybe he had like what's that, like frostbite? You know what I mean? Or like you know they
Yeah,
say freezer burn
ice
or whatever,
burns. He could
like ice burns,
ice burns, literally. Yeah, literally.
or just the fact that he melted during the fire. Like once he melted, his body probably caught on fire. But we know he was bandaged up though. You know,
Yeah.
and usually you get burn victims that get like those like heavy bandaged up bodies like around their burns. You
Yeah.
know, so I think, you know, again, it wasn't explicitly stated that he was the man marked by flame, so it is still room that Oda just kind of making us believe that. But I think there's pretty much confirmation that Saul is the man marked by flame. So unless Oda
Yeah,
goes
and
some
there's
other
like,
way with it, go ahead, Jordan.
there's some like more to build on that too, because I don't know if you have read the SBS about Kid's backstory, Blunt.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a little bit about like the girl that
But
him and
but
Killer like that they named the ship after.
yeah, but him and Saul were from the same like blue,
Okay, what was that?
so it would make what was it, Cube? I cannot remember off the top of my head.
West Blue.
Can you repeat that?
Where Kid and Saul are from.
They're from the West Blue.
Yeah, yeah. So that would like make more sense of like how Kid would like kind of know, and Kid and Killer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how they know it'd be Saul?
Yeah, yeah. The guy marked by flames.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I mean that's a good point. I didn't know they were from the same blue. I never
Yeah,
caught that.
yeah.
Den says spoilers out, and Tachi, shout out Tachi, welcome to the stream. He says, "Hey, the kid glow up, gonna be strong." And then he said, "Saul could be from Sorbet Kingdom in the South Blue." And then he said, "Wrong, they ain't real kid fans." Nah, I'm confused. Confused where you go with that, but
Yeah.
I don't know if Saul's from the Sorbet Kingdom. Is yeah, I don't know. Is that in the same blue, South Blue? Or is that where kids from, South Blue?
West.
West Blue? West
Yeah,
Blue.
South Blue. South Blue. Yeah. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
South
South
Blue.
Blue.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Thanks, Cube, for the misinformation.
Yeah, I'm not a real Kid fan. Yeah, no worries. I just like Kid. I'm not a Kid fan.
Oh,
No
that's what Tachi mean. He was saying like y'all wrong. Y'all ain't real. They ain't real kid fans. Hey, you right. We not
Yeah,
kid fans.
yeah, we ain't a fan of useless Captain Mid over here.
Captain Mid, Eustace Mid. No, I'm playing. I'm playing. But yeah, I'm more of a law guy than I am a kid guy. You know, guy. But Luffy all the way. When we talk Supernova, the main three, monster trio of the Supernova, Luffy all the way. It's Team Luffy out here. Team Straw Hat.
So we're over, Kid. Shit.
Then said Tachi gonna kill you, Cube. And then Tachi said, I made a dope kid theory before this SBS. The slander. He said Tachi is Orochi level. So yeah, so the kind of going off of that, kind of segueing the whole Jaguar D Saul being alive, I feel as though this is all roads are leading to Elbaf.
Yes,
All
sir.
roads, because we
It's
know
coming.
it seems like Saul is going to be at Elbaf. You know, we always knew that Usopp wanted to go to Elbaf. You know, like that was kind of his one of his goals, to go to Elbaf. We know all the books from Ohara are at Elbaf, So I don't think Vegapunk is really gonna give us much from what he read in those books. I think he's gonna allow Robin to learn in Elbaf.
Yeah, I have a thought on that too. Just keep
Okay,
going.
I'll let you
I'll
go.
say it afterwards.
And then
Oh, you want me
Kid.
to go?
Well, no, I'll let you go after. I'm gonna just finish
Yeah,
up. And
yeah.
Kid,
Gotcha.
it seemed like Kid, because he's after the guy, the man marked by a flame as well. So this might mean we're seeing Kid at Elbaf as well. So it seems like how we got like a lot of Luffy and Law from starting from Punk Hazard all the way up to Wano. Seemed like we might be getting Kid and Luffy, some Kid and Luffy stuff, like in
I
Elbaf.
don't know why Kid has the worst luck in the story of those stories. So I think we might see him with 2 legs missing this time. He has the worst luck.
Tachi said all love, but everyone rides Law so hard. Luffy is going Pirate King. Well, it's just because we've been around Law more, and it's just Kid is still kind of like not that fleshed out as Law. So and me honestly, I never really been a Kid. I never been a Law fan until like Wano. Honestly, as weird as that sounds, like just seeing how Law acted, just some of. I thought Law had some dope ass moments in Wano that turned me to a fan personally. So that's why I'm more of a fan. Kid didn't really do nothing for me to become a fan in yet. But I didn't become a fan of Law till Wano, and that was just kind of how he was acting.
Same.
Say what?
Yeah, no, I was a I was a Law fan since day one. When he put that middle finger up.
But go ahead, go ahead. I think you had something to say, Joy Boy.
Oh yeah, about what you're saying with like Vegapunk not like saying anything about the information he learned. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think like Robin, I think he'll go to talk about it, but Robin will shut him down, kind of like how Luffy did in Sabaody with
to
Usopp and
Rayleigh.
Rayleigh. Yeah, because
Usopp.
especially like it kind of hit home with her about like what Rayleigh said is about like you should find out for yourself because your opinions might differ or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
Usopp's
yeah,
gonna be like,
so
tell us everything you know about the Void Century. Robin's gonna be like, no, don't you better not. I'd rather find out or die. It's gonna be
No, no,
like
no.
a
Robin,
copy of that.
Robin is not Luffy. She's gonna snap his neck. He won't even have time to finish his sentence. It's Robin. Like she'll just kill him.
She go. But nah, go ahead, finish, Joy Boy.
But yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Like, because I don't think like the name that Clover found would be revealed and revealed here, like with Vegapunk.
Yeah, 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 definitely. So,
Like we might get some tidbits, and then like I think we'll like get a lot at Elbaf.
yeah. So, go ahead, Cube. What did was you gonna say something, Cube? Feels like you might.
No. I
I
just
thought you
added
were trying.
at one point what Joy Boy said, but no worries.
So, it, another thing, like I kind of mentioned this during the stream, but we talk a lot about like I guess you kind of it's kind of like Wizard of Oz. I think somebody even said that this arc is kind of like Wizard of Oz, right? Where
Joy Boy,
Vegapunk's like,
Joy Boy.
Yep.
yeah, okay, Joy Boy. So we're and I always talk about like the Straw Hats all benefiting from things that Vegapunk, like something from Vegapunk. I think Robin, Robin was definitely at the top of my list on people who could benefit from this trip to Vegapunk. But I think the thing she benefited the most was that peace of mind, though. Just the peace of mind that
Oh
she got.
yeah, for sure.
You know, I said that in my reaction stream. I definitely wanted to say that now because now she learned that everything that Ohara did was not in vain. She learned about Saul. It was a good arc for Robin. So far, this seems like a good arc for Robin, and I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it.
I just remembered something. So, didn't Aokiji tell Robin Ohara lives on?
I vaguely remember that her saying something.
Yeah, he said that.
I thought he meant because she was alive though. I thought that's what he
Yeah,
meant.
yeah. But now looking back at it, maybe he has knowledge of Saul living and taking the books to Elbaf. So literally, Ohara lives on. And what's the name of this chapter?
Ohara's
Lives
will.
on.
The will of Ohara.
The will of Ohara. The will of Ohara.
Yep, it lives on.
Yeah,
Actually, I might have something about the Wizard of Oz because I'm looking at it and I wanted to make sure. You know the three, the Scarecrow, the Woodman, and the Lion, who are with Dorothy. One wants a brain, the other wants a heart, and one wants a courage, which is very some of the members of the crew could be very similar in that sense. And Dorothy encouraged them to journey with her and Toto to the Emerald City to ask for the help of the wizard. And if I remember correctly, Emerald City was referenced with One Piece at Jaya.
Yep.
And Sandora. So I do like that idea of Wizard of Oz might have interesting reference with it. That's quite
maybe the ancient kingdom was the Emerald City.
Maybe.
Tachi said, "Kid is Luffy on Dark Souls." So yeah, I agree. Law was fleshed. I agree. Law was fleshed out nicely. Yeah, it's just I'm just waiting on something from Kid. I'm just waiting on something. I'm waiting on a reason to really get on board with Kid. I feel as though Law still kind of, or Oda still kind of holding back with Law or Kid. I mean. And then he says, "I like Kid's story. I'm gonna correct the narrative for y'all soon." Okay. And then it says tidbits. He's joking when Joy Boy said tidbits. And then Tachi said, "Lore piece going hit hard next chapter." So speaking of Elbaf, now that we're the kind of us heading to Elbaf is starting to shape up. What do you guys expect to get from Elbaf at this point? I think one thing we mentioned was the reunion of Robin and Saul. Robin reading the somebody making Jason Voorhees sounds or something. But
no, it was the Saul laugh.
Somebody like.
I said,
dude, I thought he made me feel like Michael Jackson when he danced in the black or white in the street alley when he goes that was the sound I heard.
I heard no, but so yeah, what do we expect from Elbaf now that it seems like we're going to Elbaf for sure? What are we expecting? What are we predicting to get from Elbaf?
Mm-hmm. Want to go first, Boy, or could I go?
Go ahead, Cube.
You go ahead, Cube.
Okay, so, and I like that because I was talking about with Joyboy just before we started the stream. It's the SBS that you shared about the devil fruit with the members of the crew, what devil fruit they would get. Yeah. And I do like the fact that Nami is supposed to be connected to NL. I said the being she's Swedish might be connected to Elbaf. And I've always wondered in NL, where is the Sky Island located in the other side of the world? So I would like to see if Elbaf can connect to the lores of the Birkins in a way.
Okay.
Because I do think where did NL knew about the moon and all of those stuff? And how do you go the safest route? And there's this huge, tree in the Viking lore. Maybe that tree goes up to the, and also James and the beanstalk, with giants. So maybe there's one of the tree goes up to the clouds. And so, I would like to have a mini, could be interesting.
Is Aruj a
with
Birkin?
That, do you think Aruj, yeah. That's what I was about
maybe
to
that's
say.
How,
do you think Aruj will be an Elbaf?
maybe he'll be on top, like when they're going up. Maybe that's where they're gonna meet him, or maybe on Elbaf. But maybe that's how they're gonna get Urush, the last supernova, in the story because he has to be in the story. So
Yeah.
it's a bad move. It's an asshole move. It's like a Vegeta
Yeah.
in Dragon Ball, never defeating a boss.
So you think we're gonna get some Belkin lore? And
I hope so because
possibly
I do
some
like how
Rouge.
he brought back NL with Nami. So I do think like if we might get it, and I do think Elbaf will have something about Nami with her weather stuff. So it would be nice to go full circle with NL as well.
Okay.
Been too long.
Anything else, Elbaf wise?
And I want to finally see Yasop, seeing Usopp officially, and also I want to see Usopp at Elbaf. I'm sorry, it's been waiting for I think 16 years.
Oh, yeah.
They've been talking about that.
Yeah.
16, 17 years. It's as old as Angel. Think about it. It's as old as Angel. It's as old as Angel. So we have to see Usopp at Elbaf, and I don't care what we see. I just want to see it.
Well,
Been too
Angel was
long.
like one.
Let's go.
Angel was like one. So Usopp, Elbaf, maybe some Belkin stuff.
Yeah.
Robin, Jaguar D Saul reunion. Robin reading
Exactly.
the Oharian books. You got anything to add, Joy Boy? What do we see at
Like
Elbaf?
I think the last road poneglyph is there, or if like what Cube was talking about, like with the Birkins, if it was up in their Sky Island up there. So I think that also I think I was wrong about like the whole dragon face stuff. So like in looking back at the chapter, because I only said that because if there was like a conflict with Akainu, maybe that Akainu did that to him. But looking back at the chapter, like Dragon doesn't have that yet, like his facial markings.
No, he does have that marker
So
though on him. It's on his leg.
yeah, he does have that. I'm wondering if like after finding out the Giants took the books to Elbaf, if he made a trip to Elbaf. And if the last road poneglyph is there, if like he just transcribed like a part of that onto his body,
That's interesting.
like maybe it was something that was like translated from that last road poneglyph that like stood with him.
Yeah. Y'all think we could
Because that would also it would also coincide with like the color of the marking being red on him.
Yeah. So y'all think we could potentially get some closure with Big Mom? Maybe Big Mom comes back. Because, there's been a lot of speculation of Big Mom being at Elbaf. Now and again, we don't really know her. We don't really know her status at the moment. Her or Kaido. At this point, it kind of seems like they could be dead, man. If we're being honest, it seems like they could be dead. I don't think so, though. I don't think. I just don't think so. I don't think Big Mom and Kaido are dead, and especially if Big Mom is still alive, she has a lot of history in Elbaf.
Mm-hmm.
We know about Loki. She wanted to marry somebody off the Loki. I think. One of her, I think it was supposed to be Lola, or was it Chiffon? Lola was supposed to marry Loki, but I guess she ran away and ruined that whole marriage. So even if Big Mom isn't there, we could potentially still learn about Loki. Through Loki, we could learn the plan with Big Mom and everything. So there's that. But
Blunt, you didn't hear what happened to Big Mom after Wano?
What?
She was outed by Big News Morgan since she lost some of her ranking, and she's now hiding for child support. I thought you knew.
She's hiding from child.
80 kids child support she hasn't paid for the last 60 years.
What is you talking
about? She's the Nick Cannon of the One Piece universe.
For real. Let me see something. Tachi says, or hold on. Den said, is James Jack's brother Cube?
I don't remember. This just in. Big Mom has declared bankruptcy.
Oh, you already talked to him, and then Den says, this just in. Big Mom has declared bankruptcy. All right, so I think Big Mom, if she come back, she ain't having all that. She ain't, she's still Big Mom. She's still out here,
Yeah, exactly. Like Kaido, if he comes back, he's still as strong as he was before. Just to territories he's lost. That's all.
I want to point something out that was said in the chapter that like Vegapunk completely like overlooked, but I feel as though it's very important. But Frankie said, why did you make him a cyborg? Vegapunk talking about Kuma, talking about why did Kuma help us?
Yeah, that's also a good question.
It's like, bro, like Vegapunk ain't even like acknowledge that question, bro. Like that's the question I want, and I feel as though he asked it like earlier too, and he wasn't like Vegapunk ignored it. So yeah, man, we need to learn it.
Actually,
well, I think that
there's something he said, Vegapunk, that we're actually not talking. His phrase about Quasar, which is very interesting.
Oh yeah, but but
Sorry.
on Blump's thing, before we get away from it, Cube.
Yeah, Cube kind of
sorry.
misdirecting us.
Because I think it's just Oda kind of teasing it, and then it's gonna be explained to Bonnie, because it wouldn't feel right now if it was explained to Frankie first, and that's how we found out instead of it being explained to Bonnie through the real Vegapunk.
I don't know. I think it could be both. I think they could both like Shaka could explain to like the current group, and the other and the real Vegapunk could be explaining to Bonnie. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it could. I just think I just think narratively it makes more sense.
No, you're right.
To be primarily explained through Bonnie.
And I agree, but I think Frankie will get his. I think Frankie really wants to know and will get some level of explanation.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think he'll get his answer eventually, at least.
He better get an answer, because I think that's the second or third question Vegapunk has ignored from Frankie.
yeah.
He did.
He get better answer at one point.
And Frankie was the one that seen Kuma. He was the one who met up with Kuma when he went back to the ship.
That's the worst part.
Exactly.
Using him.
But also, like, something else we skipped over was what is Shaka going to go show the other Straw Hats?
No, we didn't skip that over. We just not that was literally the next question.
well, Cube was already skipping to like
that's Cube, man. That's Cube.
Because when you asked about Elbaf, I thought it was the end of the discussion of the chapter, which I thought was very fast, but
No, I'm just I was just talking because they were still talking about Elbaf.
True.
During that whole explanation. So what was Vegapunk going to show the Straw Hat?
His toy. I don't know.
His toy. Whoa.
A big dildo.
I have something to show you.
A giant sized dildo. Oh, that's funny, bro. Like, yo, wow. Vegapunk is going to show his big vibrator. Here you go, Nami. then
that's
says,
their power up.
Then says butt plugs. Mechanical butt plug. Smart butt plugs.
You goes weird, into Vegapunk's 50 Shades of Grey
you
room.
Call people. All right. The ancient strap on. But It could be a poneglyph. I don't know if it'd be a role poneglyph, but it could be a poneglyph. A very important poneglyph. You know.
Dude.
I don't know what could Vegapunk, because let me see what he says. The shoes are moving. He says, I have something to show. So he pretty much said he got something to show him. So I don't know what it could be. You know, I would think
It could
it
be
probably.
Poneglyph because he's.
Go
Because
ahead.
it could be Poneglyph because Jinbei, Chopper, and Luffy, who are like most likely the ones who will have information about Luffy's fruit or anything about that, are not there. So you have to think, what could Vegapunk introduce to that group who are with them? Well, I think Poneglyph might be a good guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Poneglyph, you know, based on, you know, because again, we don't really know what else it could be. Like, I don't know what else it could be, but, yeah. And then it says, I told you spoilers are out, boys. Questions answered. I don't read spoilers, bro. I don't read spoilers.
Yeah, I haven't read the spoilers yet for this week.
Nah. And the spoilers ain't the chapter. So what it, you know. You said, "Oh shit, so sorry, Bluff." But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with Poneglyph. I'm gonna go with Poneglyph for now. What do you think, Joy Boy? Because you kind of wanted to talk about this. Seems like you wanted to talk about this.
I think it's going to be like the energy source of like Egghead Island.
The energy source, the Egghead Island.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be like connected to why Vegapunk said like he's going to be dying soon.
This is so you saying it's gonna be Ace's corpse? I'm joking. It's gonna be Ace's corpse. God dang. So the end of the chapter, we got the real Vegapunk reveal. Right, we see him. He got like half, like a portion of his head left, and it's like attached to like an apple, kind of like signifying Isaac Newton when the apple. It was the
Did you ever
situation where
take him?
apple fell on his head, and
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I know Cube
I was
kind of
gonna.
wanted to fast forward to this part, so I'm gonna let Cube start off on this one because he kind of wanted to fast
Yeah,
forward
go
to this
ahead, Cube.
situation.
I was just going to say the quasar because I was talking with Tachi before and then Kushi about it. The term quasar, which I do think like, if I remember correctly, it's connected to a black hole, right?
It's light particles that come off of the event horizon of a black hole.
Yeah.
So they're the byproducts of collapsed stars.
Yeah.
Which the seraphim, some of the seraphim have eyes and pupils in the form of stars.
And what's super funny is that a quasar system, which is like a series of like collapsing stars, all line up to look like the world government symbol.
Yeah, I was about to mention that the Einstein cross.
Yep. Par
What?
fucked my mind last night with some shit, but I went down a rabbit hole, and yeah, the Einstein thing was a big thing that I fucking like stumbled on last night. I was like, what the fuck? And another big thing I don't think anyone is really talking about is like that green blood shit. It was the same thing that we saw in Dressrosa, just one for one. So what the fuck was the difference between the Smile properties and the current Seraphim properties? There isn't much. Because that juice that they dumped in the Smile factory, that was all green. And that was pure lineage factor. Like pure concentrated lineage factor. That they just dump into the river.
The juice that they win?
Yeah, like on Dressrosa, the
Tontata?
dwarves straight. Yeah, the Tantatas. I always mix them up with Automatas. I don't know why. But when they were like actually like farming the actual trees for the smiles, you can see the Smile Factory and its giant SAD container all have green like fluid in it. So that
Yeah.
green it's very fair to assume that that green fluid is what the lineage factor is, because Caesar would have access to it since he was the only guy at Punk Hazard at that time. Direct contact with Mads, where Judge and Vegapunk were the only guys to actually crack the lineage factor. So Caesar probably just took those notes and distilled them in some form or fashion in order to mass produce them, because for some reason Momo's fruit is still considered a failure. We don't know why. Maybe he doesn't have a hybrid form. Maybe it would fucking suck if that was the case. But
But
sorry, go ahead.
Cube, you low.
You know.
Your mic.
Okay.
Oh
So
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I
so-
said a will of its own. Most likely that when he started using the fruit, that's when he put all of his will in that move every time. Those 2 attacks he really put in. So I would think that maybe it didn't have his own will, and the will that he's showing is maybe Momo's own hockey putting into the power.
Yep.
I mean, that's also
I fuck with that super heavy. Because what's the names for the 3 colors of hockey that we get in the like official? We got color of arms, color of observation, and color of the supreme king. Only 2 of those are body parts, being arms and eyes. The other one is a full person.
Yeah.
And fucking Denden Kushi, my boy Hyde, my executive conspiracist, fucking laid it on me that Miss Golden Week in an SBS, Oda explained her power as the absence or the void of a fighting style is what allows her color to have influence.
Yeah, we talk about Miss
So-
Golden Week a lot. Like I know me and Eliz definitely talked about him a few times.
That bitch is for the streets, bro. The fact that her shit was answered in an SBS 20 years after I fucking knew her name, I was so pissed. Because it made no sense to me. I'm just like, the Trail Black.
Goddamn cute.
Like, then cooch. You're smooth, cute. You're smooth. I gotta give you that for sure. Fuck.
So
but Blunt, I gotta ask you on your predictions. What do you think is gonna happen next chapter?
I don't know, but we'll talk about that. I'll give my predictions. I just want to talk about this Vegapunk reveal though, because he has less of a head, right? Like, and I know, Joy Boy said, possibly splitting up the brains to all the other satellites, right? I'm kind of thinking maybe instead of splitting the brain, maybe they just got the whole brain intact and it's like in some type of a jar sending signals to the other ones or something. Some type of chamber, like that chamber that Goku is in when he's healing before he fights Frieza, like some type of chamber like that. And because when you look at it, like they're called satellites, right? Like the other Vegapunks are called satellites. So it's like they're receiving or giving some type of signal, right? That's kind of what I get with a satellite. So I'm thinking it's just the whole brain is in the jar or something. But
there's a split definition to that satellite. There's a split definition to that satellite that you literally just incepted into my brain right now. Stars are satellites. Anything that orbits a system is a satellite. Stars are satellites. Anything that orbits a system like a moon, a planet, those are satellites. So the fact that we see six Vegapunks before we get the reveal of, the Einstein one that looks like he can like go pro just eating ass, that guy is essentially just the core Vegapunk, like the center of his quote solar system. Because we saw him just shit talking Dragon about just not having enough money to like fund his projects and shit, and shit talking other engineers being like, hey yo, nobody can keep up with what I want to do and stuff. So like he at that point during the Ohara incident was the center of his own universe. And for some reason he split himself up because he realized he was in danger. It was Shakapunk that told Dragon that CP0 was going to come. Well, assassins were gonna come kill him. He didn't state CP0, but
you
it's
think
very possible.
You think the danger is why he split himself up?
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Because I would
if you
argue,
are,
he split
if,
himself up to get more work done.
I fuck with that only because we saw 2 Vegapunks out of the other 6 that look like complete like Akira Toriyama robots, and that was Pythagoras and Edison.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that those 2 were the first ones that Vegapunk made, and then he made Shaka Punk, which was the head, like of the entire system, and then he made Atlas. In my opinion, it went Lilith, Atlas, and then York, and
Why?
that's completely headcanon.
Why?
Also,
If he made those first, why wouldn't they been number 1 and 2?
Because they weren't perfect. They weren't like as close to people as possible. So like a robot can have its own sentience. It can still think, but it's a binary system. If you're able to make and grow a human being that is able to function essentially like a Denden Mushi, because they literally don't use Denden Mushis to communicate with each other, to communicate with Dragon. None of that shit. It's all pre-built inside. So if you're able to do that to a human where technology is so melded together with the biology that you can't even tell the difference, it's like Vegapunk was literally like pocketing himself, pocketing the biggest secrets that he had in each of them. So then like that secret or that thing that was so important to him never was like revealed. So I have a bit of a headcanon that Lilith is based off of Bello Betty, who kind of look, in my opinion, could be Luffy's mom. I think that's the strongest suggestion. Um, Bro,
I
like
don't know
she
about that
literally
one.
gives people hockey. She literally fuck Crocomon, bro. Like
Well,
until I get Impel Down to and Dofi and Crocodile are reunited as eternal lovers, and Dragon and Ivankov go to save Bonkre because Bonkre leads the fucking the Kamabaka land of 5.5 hell of Impel Down. If we do not get that, and Crocodile and Dragon never interact in the entire story, I'm debunking that theory. Until then, that's gonna be my number 1 theory. Number 2, Bello Betty.
all right.
That bitch gives people hockey.
Hold on, Tachi. So Q, what was you was gonna say something? Q.
yeah, with the idea of Edison and Pythagoras being the first one, and I would not think. I think going by the numbers, because we talked about it, and I do also think they're the first ones. Also, that's why they don't have their own body, but more like metal body, because at that time he didn't came up with the idea on how to make like organic satellites. But also it makes sense in the role that they have. In terms of role, the first ones who would make sense would be those ones, because one is all about brainstorming new ideas, and the other one is all about analyzing data and then giving like analyze information through that. So I do think like those 2 might have been with Vegapunk, how they made the other satellites and maybe all the other stuff he's been doing,
Here's the
and
fucking
help
funny
him.
thing that you
Uh,
just put in my brain right now. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but this is Blumstream, and I'm trying to be as respectful as I can. But you just put something into my brain, and I need to fucking say it. So Edison, Thomas Edison, IRL, he was a patent lawyer. He was not a scientist. All he would do was sign patents in order to get liabilities, not liabilities, in order to get royalties off of inventions that people would try and patent. Because you need a patent lawyer in order for the government to acknowledge that you own that said invention. Edison was constantly on that shit, flipping paper after paper after paper, landed on Nikola Tesla and was like, oh fuck, all this shit? Yeah, this is mine now. Patented that as his, killed an elephant, made billions of dollars. That dude was an idea man from jump. And who was the guy analyzing? You already said it, Cube. Pythagoras, who's an ancient fucking Greek scholar who literally created the idea of what it means to develop a slope and to analyze it.
Yeah. So, Joy Boy, what about you? Like, you got anything to add? Because I know you ain't got a chance to talk in a while. What's up?
So about like the reason why Vegapunk split. So my original thought was that he was like in danger of what Caesar did to Punk Hazard, but like after his interaction with Dragon about dragon stating, "Oh, your head has grown a little bit more since the last time I saw you." I think he would have had to split himself because all the information he was taking in was too much.
Maybe
And,
life
like,
threatening.
yeah.
I kind of like that.
So
I kind of like that.
just based off of like what Dragon said about his head growing, and then him learning more and more and more over the years. Like if his head kept growing to a point where it was like where he couldn't even like walk at that point.
Yeah.
Like that could be another reason why he split.
What if that was all
like that
attributed
idea.
to a fruit, though?
I like that idea.
What if he ate a devil fruit?
I don't know. But also
Yeah,
something that we haven't talked about was the insignia on the space pirates' hats on the moon in Nell's cover story. It's a skull and crossbones with an elongated head.
Did you notice the
Much like,
dial on them?
I seen that. I don't know. I still don't know if I attribute. I don't know if I connect them with Vegapunk though. You know, I think they just design wise had long heads. I don't think they were as smart as Vegapunk though.
That boy looked like a mink too. So like he was wearing a top hat too. So if he was in that cover story, if that person was the captain of that crew, he would have like a hat to signify that. We've seen like almost every type of captain either have hat or a bandana of some sort in order to like signify like, yeah, that's the captain. Other than Shanks, everyone else had a hat or a scar or horns. So like,
yeah, they got a ship with a top hat. They got a ship with top hat.
Oh, you're right. And there was a Sea King on the moon. There was a Sea King on that fucking moon building stuff. And there were dials on their spacesuits.
Yeah.
Dude,
before we get too much off of the chapter, I kind of want to stick with the chapter, and then we could chat more about like other theories outside the chapter later. But
the giant robot.
But hold on. Then says, I think there's something going on with long heads. Joy Boy is right about the space pirate stuff, in my opinion. They're wearing ticky suits, and Captain has a big oil. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if there's like a group of long-headed people. I think I think the situation with Vegapunk's long head is probably unique to him. It has more to do with like his genius, or like what Tachi said, maybe it could be a devil fruit as well. That where it's like a smart devil fruit or something. But
yeah, some dumb shit like that. Or like if Oda wants to go about the Hito route, he could even do that too.
Yeah, it could go that route as well. But I'm just saying, I think Vega. I don't know if I think Vegapunk's big head and the space aliens are connected. Me personally, could they be?
No, I agree with you.
Maybe.
I agree with you.
I just don't. I don't know if I believe that. You know, I don't know.
Because the reason why I agree with you is because of the fact that all of space is in the same atmosphere as the One Piece world. Because how the fuck did Enel sail to the moon? The Arc Maxim has no like rocket ship propellers on it. It had sails and rowboats. It had oars.
I don't know, but like when you look at it, what moon are they on though? Because it's from what we've seen from how the One Piece world is. It's you got a bunch of celestial bodies that surround the One Piece Earth. But yeah, all right. So y'all got anything else about the end when it comes to Vegapunk's reveal and about his head? Or I mean, I don't really got nothing to add to his head. I think it's either he split them up like y'all said, or maybe it's in some type of tank sending signals to where they kind of act as like the pain. Mm-hmm. It kind of is like the pain, right? Where it's just sending signals to keep them moving. But about the chapter, all right, let's about this chapter. Does anybody else have anything? Because I pretty much covered all the topics I wanted to talk about in this chapter. So
I might have something.
You got something?
Let me go first because it's super fast. Two things. When they walked through the metal wall, when Lilith told them, "Hey, don't let your eyes deceive you," and they walked through that, Usopp turned around, smacked it. He's like, "Hey, it's metal again." And then at the end of this chapter, Luffy's like in front of the giant robot. Oh my god, this is a fucking this is a Den Kushi fucking observation. This nigga was like, yo, yeah. Luffy outright says that giant robot is made out of metal, not that hollow thing. So that hollow thing that Nico Robin and Usopp and all the other boys walked with through Lilith on the Frankie side, right? Because they were split up. You had Jinbei and Bonnie and Chopper and Luffy with the Oars robot, and then you had like Usopp, Robin, Nami, Sanji, and Zoro and Brook were on the ship, but they were with Lilith, and Lilith just outright showed us what is between the gates of fucking justice. It's invisible metal. Because the gates of justice, right? They're supposed to make sure that you do not enter the gates of justice unless they open. So you're supposed to be spinning around in the Tarai current. And there are 3 gates. Okay. It's literally a pyramid. It has to be a pyramid. Otherwise, people would be able to fly out of the gates of justice. And the gates of justice have no fucking rust. Thank you again, Den Kushi. So I ask you, is this chapter telling us that light can be metal?
That light can be metal. Are you talking about the metal are you talking about the robot, or are you talking about the gate that they walked through?
The gate that they walked through.
I mean, he knows how to manipulate light, so it could be light, I guess. I'm a little confused on where we're getting at.
Because Denden's already on it. He's like, the giant robot has rust on it, meaning it's real. The fact that Vegapunk's entire Punk Records Egghead Island doesn't have rust on any of its metals suggests that it's not metal. And what did the Atlas Vegapunk do to show Sanji how much of a battle fighter she was? She put on a fucking photon light gloves.
Could the gates be made of sea stone or something? I don't think sea stone get rusty. Does sea stone get rusty?
I'm not talking about the actual gate. I'm talking about the walls in between. Because there has to be walls in between. They stated you cannot enter a gate of justice unless one of them open. Meaning that there's barriers between Impel Down and Ennis Lobby and the old Marineford at that time.
Oh, you mean the walls? Oh, okay. So you mean the walls in between the gates, like the ones that's keeping the water in, where you can't just go around the gate.
Exactly.
Like that's made of light.
Do you think Vegapunk studied that and then reverse engineered it for his own stuff?
I don't know. I never actually thought about that. That's an interesting question, though. I've never thought about that wall. I mean, that is interesting. Like, what is keeping those gates up and the water from going around the gate instead of going through it? Well, when it's closed, right? So
yeah, and on top of that, like people can fly. There are like bird devil fruits. Skywalking is an ability that people can just straight up do. Like there would be more people escaping from that place, but they can't because it's a pyramid.
Oh, like it's a pyramid jail kind of like.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever the fuck is at the bottom,
maybe it's maybe you just get like 4 Kage level individuals and they do that.
Oh, the fucking the stone Kage guy with his particle shit.
No, I was talking about how they trapped. Like when Orochimaru trapped in the 3rd Hokage before he killed him, and they like trapped him in the jail. But I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But nah, Q, go. Let's wrap this up. Q, what was you saying about you had something for the chapter?
I do like this. One thing I like is a clarification about Punk Hazard. Because if you remember how Punk Hazard was introduced, they said it's an island where there was a catastrophe a few years ago, same as Kijai Kanu fought, and they called it Punk Hazard, which we all assumed, and they called the laboratory Punk Hazard, and we all assumed that was the name after the incident. But 22 years ago, it was called Punk Hazard Laboratories. And now my question is this, that I'm wondering, is are we going to see more, and we've seen only old scientists or people over 30 years old being doctors, stuff like that. So first of all, could the crew of Law might be connected to Punk Hazard, considering that the same moment they had the incident, that's when Law started his piracy. And just that, I find very interesting that actually Punk Hazard has been active as a laboratory for at least 30 years.
Okay. Yeah.
The name was called Punk Hazard. The name was already called Punk Hazard, which I find very interesting. And it's not because of the incident of a few years ago.
And what's even funnier about Punk Hazard is that it's literally only one of two places that you cannot get to with a log pose. Meaning that that place does not give off a magnetic field. Meaning that the awakened ability that Akainu distributed and displayed against his fight against Aokiji permanently changed the actual land.
Yeah, or Vegapunk did it. Vegapunk has anti-gravity equipment.
Hear me out. None of that stuff changes magnetism, by the way. Point being, a Cinnabar Island is an island that is literally it's magma and lava mixed with water and then hardened over time, and it gives off a reddish hue. That's the entire burning half of the of Punk Hazard, and it gives off the same frequency that you can't pick up from a log pose that you get from the red line. That's why it pointed. That's why when they got to the red line, it pointed down to Fishman Island instead of up.
Tachi, you said you think Akainu changed the
it was the
magmatism of the island.
Absolutely.
But Cube, but hold on, Cube.
If he's in a way,
hold on. Cube said you think Vegapunk changed it though.
But the fact that Vegapunk has shown that he has anti-gravity system, it wouldn't make sense that he knew how to literally reject magnetism so that people will not come to Punk Hazard being his laboratory. I do think it could also be his science experiment. He found a way to make sure that nobody comes to his lab. If you think about it, you want a laboratory run by the government, it would make sense you would find a way, being Vegapunk, how to make it that people won't come there.
But people already got there, and then your subordinate blew up the place.
But if you think about it, Nami said none of the 3 places, and none of them they were just in front of Punk Hazard. None of them gave up to Punk Hazard. They were all further than Punk Hazard. So it does make sense that there might be something more.
Hold on.
Kind of might be a good thing.
Repeat that last bit.
When they were approaching Punk Hazard because of the stress call, Nami even stressed that none of her log posts, none of the 3 places they could go, none of them was Punk Hazard. And Luffy still wanted to go.
And do you think for a second that that's not attributed to the fight Aokiji and Akainu had on it?
But it would make sense if Punk Hazard for the last 22 years was at least with Vegapunk and world government. Maybe they, a long time ago, might have found a way. Because the problem with Akainu Aokiji is 2 years ago. So that means for the last 22 years, how would people not go there? But
because it's protected by the world government. It's a government facility, regardless if it's a research facility. It's a government one, a world government one. They're gonna put armies. They literally have a dude who's called the bodyguard of the Vegapunk, Sentomaru. I don't care how mid they are.
Hey, but Tachi, in Cube's defense, they don't necessarily have a bunch of Marines at the current island, at Egghead Island.
You're right. That's why they're trying to kill him. Motherfucker literally designed his own climate, and now they're sending CP0 after it.
The only point I'm saying is that if Vegapunk has already able to do anti-gravity, it would not be a big stretch that he found a way to also do that. It could be also
there's no motive. There's no motive.
We don't know. Dude, it's One Piece. You know, it's One Piece. We'll find a motive. Oda will make a motive soon.
It would also make sense for it to be changed after what Caesar did to the island, if the government didn't want people to go there over Akainu and Aokiji's fight.
Yeah.
Because what's fucked about Cinnabar is that it's the only non-magnetic metal that forms naturally from volcanic eruptions. And we see volcanoes all throughout our travel to Fishman Island. They expressly state how they go into deep science. The saline levels are different. The actual salt percentages are different. And all that other shit.
I just think it's a second option. It could be a second option. Vegapunk is a second option if it was older. That's what I'm saying. But your thing is also could make sense. But I'm saying if it was longer than 2 years, I would say most likely Vegapunk found a way to do it a long time ago too.
I mean, they had people. Caesar had people, right? He had those guys wearing those yellow suits. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that there were probably like world government just lackey scientists that say that Caesar could possibly replace at any point if he felt like it, because he had that much clout at that time with the world government.
Yeah, but yeah, Cube, you got anything else? I know you was
No, that's all. No, that was the last thing I was gonna say, which I find it very nice that we might get a bigger history than we thought about Punk Hazard, considering the name hasn't changed in almost 30 years.
All I want is just my Cinnabar Island to be true. That's it. I just want a Cinnabar Island in one piece. That's it. Because then we have Dr. Blaine and that perfect Pokemon reference.
All right, Tachi, we know you what you said. Let's all right, so Joy Boy. Anything else to add about the chapter? Any predictions? Any what's to come with, anything to...
Yeah, no, I'm good. I've pretty much said all my predictions and theories.
I mean, my only prediction is we're gonna learn with whatever Vegapunk has that he wants to show the Straw Hats. I don't know what it is just yet. I know there's spoilers out at this point, but I don't know. I think it might be it could be a poneglyph. I don't know if it's a roll poneglyph. It might just be like it might be like one of those poneglyphs with the history on it, but it could be like an important one, like one with like a lot of deep history that Vegapunk may have came apart. But I don't know. Maybe
it could be an eternal pose. It could be an eternal pose. Yeah, I fuck with that.
It could be an eternal pose as well. It could be one of those. So yeah, anybody got predictions? Tachi, you got any predictions? For like, or did you read the spoilers, Tachi? Because if you did, I don't know.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Okay.
But my prediction, I don't even care if it's gonna come true or not. I want Brook versus Kaku, and I want Lucci versus Zoro, because those two boys are on the ship.
Yeah.
CP0 is after Vegapunk right now. It would only make sense that they would engage Zoro and Brook first.
No, I agree.
Zoro,
I agree. I said
Zoro
that last.
Being the beast killer he is, he's probably gonna body Lucci
Who's
and
gonna
then
fight
have to
Stussy,
worry about Kun.
Who fights Stussy?
I think Stussy's gonna be doing covert ops. I think it's gonna be the Seraphim, Lucci, and Kaku rolling in, and then they're gonna expect Stussy to kind of like what she did at the tea party in Whole Cake, right? Like literally, like walk in, be stealth and shit, and try to find where the real Vegapunk is, or take all of them out.
Yeah. No, I agree. I said that last stream that I think Brook and Zoro, one of their purposes is to intercept Lucci and Kaku, because a lot of people don't want to see a rematch between Luffy and Zoro or Luffy and Lucci. So I think it would be different if we see Zoro and that's his fight. And I would like to, and I would really love to see Brook get a fight in, because last arc he fought like fodder characters.
When was the last time that he actually fought seriously since Ryuma? That's a genuine question.
Oh, Brook?
Big Mom? Big Mom?
Oh yeah. I mean, but he was there to infiltrate. He fought for his life, and he was outmatched. I don't think Brook was taking that seriously. I think it was a get out of jail free card.
Oh yeah, obviously.
I think he fought in.
It's still a pretty feat.
I think he fought in.
Big Mom.
I think he fought Fishman Island.
Yeah, but it was his fight. He was bodying mans. Am I wrong?
Probably.
Like Brook has not had a serious fight since Ryuma. Since the dude that pushed him into swordsmanship. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. He hasn't had any fights. But any other predictions though? Any other predictions, Cube?
Yeah. So I am pretty sure the dragon will be appearing in this arc. So I'm just hoping to know in which form, in how is he going to appear in this arc.
You think he's going to show up to Egghead Island?
Or like I said, I've been seeing similar stuff with Punk Hazard, and that panel where Shaka calls Vegapunk is the same similar scene as Monet when she calls a Flamingo before he comes to Punk Hazard. So I think it could be a possibility.
Okay, so Dragon at Egghead Island. I don't know if I believe that. It's just
Yeah.
because he's in the Grand Line right now, if I remember. Because Kamibaka Kingdom's in the Grand Line, right?
Yep.
So I don't know if he's going to be in. He's going to get there in time to be any relevance.
Here's the question about Dragon. Here's my question for you guys. Do you think, since Crocomom is very widely believed, do you think that Crocodile got his like info about Pluton from Dragon? Because he recruited Robin in search of Pluton, meaning he had previous knowledge of it.
Okay, I do have a take on this.
I'll let you go, Q, because I don't know if I believe the Crocomom theory. I don't know if I'm.
I don't believe the Crocodile theory. I do believe that Crocodile might have been a woman before, and my best bet was Amazon Lily. Fits with the missing queen. If she's from that the same age generation as the Crocodile, would make sense. And also could explain why 19 years ago we never understood how Hancock and their sisters were taken by the world government, even though they're supposed to be Amazon Lily, and they were taken like slaves. And so my thing is, I think like Crocodile, when he was a woman, he's Icarus that flew too close to the sun. I think he got too ambitious, and he learned stuff that basically put a death sentence on him. So I do think like maybe Dragon and he learned stuff from Dragon, but I think he also benefited from Ivankov, and Dragon benefited from whatever Crocodile found out. But then he had to hide, which was why they call that a weakness, not being a woman, but being the woman that he is. Identity might put him in danger.
Joy Boy. Any predictions? I think
I said I'm good, but
all right.
Just with what Cube said, if Crocodile is like the Empress of Amazon Lily before Boa, that would make it not the Croco mom theory, but the Croco mom-in-law theory.
Yeah. All right, so that is the discussion. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Make sure you comment down below anything you agree or disagree with that was said. And make sure you guys also follow me on Twitch, especially if you want to engage with me live. You want to tell me I'm wrong, tell me I'm right, you agree, whatever. Make sure you follow me on Twitch. Also, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And join the Discord. Join the Discord. If you want to become part of a future live stream, you must be part of the Discord. That's also where I engage with the most. And if you want to send me stuff to react to, I have a channel specifically for all that stuff. If it's One Piece stuff, I'll react to it in a One Piece stream. If it's anything else, it'll probably be like a chill stream or something. But anyway, y'all, I got Q with me, I got Tachi with me, and I got LaJoy Boy with me. It's your boy Sean P. the Bluff God. Tachi, I know you're a content creator. Do you want to add anything for people to follow you? I want to
formally invite the host of this Twitch stream that you're watching right now, which is Kino fucking content, to an upcoming show that I want to do. Called Theorists Anonymous, where we sit down and we basically try to work through our addictions towards headcanon, like, for example, Mihawk over Shanks, and then comedically, like, walking through that. Today's gonna be an inaugural episode. Tachi D Spins on YouTube. Bluff God will make a fucking appearance. One day. It will happen.
All right. Y'all heard it. I'm gonna make an appearance on on it. But you said, but what was the YouTube again? Let him repeat the YouTube.
Tachi with 2 eyes. I'm gonna put it in the chat. Tachi D Spins. Check me out.
Spins. So y'all got his YouTube. You wanna plug in any other?
That's literally it. Same thing on Twitch and on Twitter as well. Yeah, that's it.
All right, so
we're building a conglomeracy, baby.
So we got
the conglomeracy phase.
We got Tachi here as well as the usual suspects. But anyway, y'all, I'm out of here. It's your boy Sean P, the Bluff Guy, and I'm out of here. Peace.